With the summer approaching, are you trying to figure out the best way to keep your baby safe from the sun? When is it safe to use sunscreen on your baby? I'm Dr. E. I'm a board-certified pediatrician, and I'm going to discuss how to keep your baby safe from the sun, what are the best forms of sun protection, and what I personally use for my little one to keep her safe from UV rays. I love making informative and educational videos here on YouTube all about pediatrics and children's health. I also have an Instagram and a TikTok that I post on, so follow me there if you like this type of content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos. All right, let's talk sun protection. So before talking about how to protect your baby from the sun, I think it's really important to talk about why we protect babies from the sun and the risk the sun has to babies. So just like everybody, babies are at risk of getting damage to their skin from the UV rays. There are two types of UV rays. There are UVA rays and UVB rays. UVA rays are typically rays that cause premature aging and hyperpigmentation of the skin. UVB rays are the rays that cause skin cancer. Both of these rays are damaging to the baby's skin. It's important to protect from both of them. The biggest risk for little ones is that their skin is just so sensitive. UV damage is cumulative, and so the damage that is done early in life puts them at risk of having problems down the road when it comes to skin cancers and other problems with the skin. That's the biggest reason why it's so important to protect your little ones from the sun. Okay, so now that we know why it's important to protect our babies from the sun, how do we do it? I think this is a great question and something I get asked a lot. The first thing I want to talk about is babies less than 6 months old. So babies less than 6 months old should be kept out of direct sunlight. Now, some people will tell me that they're going to go home and put their newborn in the direct sun to help with their jaundice levels or help with their bilirubin levels, and this is not recommended. This does not need to happen. If your baby is drinking well and peeing well, your pediatrician is going to monitor those jaundice levels, and direct or indirect sunlight really isn't going to play a factor. So it's really crucial that you keep your babies that are less than 6 months out of direct sunlight. That is the number one way to protect them from the sun. Now, that doesn't mean they can't go outside or they can't go on walks or go to the park. It just means they should not be in the direct sun rays. How we can protect these babies from direct sun is by using some type of barrier. Typically, this is clothing, so you could do a UPF clothing, UPF shirts. However, most strollers have some type of UPF protection over them, some type of covering. You can use umbrellas. If you're at the beach, you could use some type of UPF tent. So there are so many options for your baby to stay out of the direct sunlight and stay in the shade, however, still be involved in the fun and still get the fresh air of being outside. Once babies are over 6 months, you can start using sunscreen. There are two different types of sunscreen, and really one is safer than the other for your baby. So there are mineral sunscreens, which are sunscreens with ingredients like titanium oxide or zinc oxide. Those sunscreens tend to cause more of a white milky film on the skin, and they tend to kind of leave a white cast. And so those are mineral sunscreens. Mineral sunscreens work by sitting on top of the skin and by reflecting the UV rays. So I think that's an important concept to understand, is those sunscreens are not getting absorbed into the skin, they are reflecting the UV rays. Now, in contrast to the mineral sunscreen, there are chemical sunscreens. Chemical sunscreens are sunscreens that work by absorbing UV rays. These are sunscreens with ingredients like octinoxate, oxybenzone, ovobenzone, and there's a lot of other ones, and oftentimes they're a little bit difficult to pronounce. Those all work by absorbing UV rays. Now, in healthy adults, that's not a problem. However, in babies, it's theorized that it's safer to use a mineral sunscreen because it's reflecting and it's not absorbing into the skin. As you can imagine, there's not a lot of studies that go on involving babies because a lot of people don't want to sign up their babies for research studies. It's not really ethical to do things like that. Overall, it's a pretty easy thing to avoid the chemical sunscreen, so that's why we recommend avoiding them. I also really like mineral sunscreens because it does leave that white cast, so you can tell the areas that are being protected, especially in squirmy toddlers or older kids. It's easier to see if you forgot an arm or forgot a part of the leg, it's really easy to make sure that you're getting a nice coverage of all of the skin. So once babies are over 6 months, you can use that mineral sunscreen to help protect the exposed skin. However, I still recommend using the same precautions that we talked about for babies less than 6 months. So you should still ideally try to keep them out of direct sunlight, try to keep them in the shade if you can. I really love rash guards in this age, UPF rash guards, because you're not trying to put sunscreen on a really wiggly toddler. So overall, barrier protection is going to be the best, and then putting the SPF, the mineral SPF, on exposed skin. So my favorite combination for sun protection in my little one, I put a long sleeve UPF rash guard on her, and then I put mineral sunscreen on the exposed skin. So usually that's her legs and her face. And then I always put a hat on her too. A secret that I found, especially at toddler age when they just want to rip everything off of themselves, using a UPF hat that ties around the bottom can really keep it on much longer. So I recommend doing something like that. And then having some type of safe area from the direct sunlight. So making sure that you've got an umbrella or a tent to help protect your children. That way, if they are playing in the direct sunlight, they have somewhere to retreat to, so they're not just baking out in the UV rays. The very last thing I want to talk about when it comes to sun protection is it's so important to set by example. Just like everything in life, your children are watching you and you are setting an example. So it's really important for you to take sun protection seriously and for them to see you wearing the UPF clothing, you reapplying sunscreen and taking sun protection seriously, because that's going to make sure that they understand that it's something they need to take seriously. Also, you want to make sure you're happy and healthy and around for a long time. And so protecting yourself from different skin cancers is really important as well. Do you have a favorite sunscreen, or do you have tips for keeping children out of the sun? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!